don't forget to add songs to our class playlist because I don't know what you guys like to listen to, you know?
A few weeks ago, I decided to follow my professor's advice and check out the class playlist. I saw my fellow classmate Sky had added a song from Dominic Fike to the collection. Every time I meet someone who knows who Dominic Fike is, I get irrationally excited. You see, Dominic Fike is from Southwest Florida, just like me. Sure, all of his songs are great, but listening to his music sends me the subtle reminder that no town is too small to breed successful artists.
Yeah, I just liked his song.
Anyways, I reached out to Sky to see if she'd want to do a project together, and she agreed. Little did we know, our initial conversation would lead to us developing the main question we will seek to answer in this project. What psychological bonds can human beings form through music?
Before we answer the big question, we've got to start with some smaller ones. For starters, why do we listen to music in the first place?
A study we analyzed from Wiley Online Library researched why people listen to music and gathered the following conclusions.
Listening to music is an inherently social activity, offering opportunities for participants to socialize with friends.
It gives us something to talk about with others, and our shared musical experiences can serve as conversational topics.
Of course, we like the sounds we hear in music too. However, there's more to it than that. Those sounds you're hearing were made by people with specific intentions as a result of their surroundings.
They then communicate those sounds to you, impacting your surroundings. So, above all else, music is really just a gateway
to human connection.
The relationships we form with songs are very similar to the relationships we form with characters, in movies or literature. In both instances, the impact we feel is entirely relative to ourselves.
Sad songs and scary movies both evoke emotion, but neither of them just play themselves. Audiences dictate the media they interact with, controlling what they consume, connecting with the effect it has on them.
In 1956, Horton and Wall published an article coining the phrase parasocial relationships, which is loosely defined as the perceived face-to-face relationship between the viewer and the performer on screen.
The article went on to determine that the audience is free to choose among the relationships offered, but it cannot create new ones. What this tells us about music is that individuals can choose from the relationships offered to them, songs, albums, artists, but they cannot create new relationships.
That's the thing about parasocial relationships. They're only perceived to the audience member. Media reaches this audience in varying moments within their lives, so it's impossible for them to all form the same connection.
Parasocial relationships are the reason Noah has a deeper connection to Dominic Fike than I do. Noah perceives his music as a sign that someone from his neck of the woods can find success connecting with people on a grand scale.
That relationship forms a bond between Dominic Fike and me. Even though he controls the relationship through his music making, I control the way I perceive it. This control over how I see his music consequently leads me to passionately seek out other Dominic Fike fans.
That's okay, Noah. You're not alone. We've already discussed how connections are formed through music, and clearly shared connections over an artist create bonds between their fans.
Yes, especially with artists who are less popular. Part of the excitement I feel when running into another fan is that they are part of a secret group of listeners, and we connect through a uniquely shared interest.
Well, let's see what some students around Florida State University have to say about the parasocial relationships they form with these underground artists.
When you go into listening to music, there's great artists for sure, but it's just so saturated, you know what I mean? So while you get to see the progression of an artist finding their own sound and learning more about themselves through their own music journey. So that's why I would like more underground artists rather than someone who's so mainstream.
You're like one of the elite fans, I guess, because if you found the person first before they've grown up, then you have the rights. Yeah, I knew I heard of this guy before he actually grew up.
Yeah.
So I guess you want to feel he's better than other people.
When an artist is more underground, if you go to one of their shows, it's much more intimate, so you can connect with them more rather than if they're a big and famous pop star. You go to their concert and it's huge and they're trying to interact with so many people in such a big space, and it's just less intimate and it doesn't work out as well.
It's growing up with someone that even though you'd never talk to them, you just love to see their success and growth. For me, it was fun to see that the guy that I was listening in the back of the bus with my friends was now playing concerts and now making money for what they were doing, and it was a really good experience to see it all happening.
I've seen the progression and it's okay, I see where you were, I see where you are now, I can appreciate that, And it's like, I feel like sometimes, you know, when they sign a label or they get big, their music kind of changes. So like knowing them from when they were just making music for themselves, it's like you have a deeper connection with them because that's when they were being like real true to their music.
The need becomes different. So like with like bigger artists, like they do it, it's work, you know what I mean? Like it's another day on the job, and it's like almost like they're like a factory, just like releasing things, while especially when you know the artist, or you understand that it's a different grind, and their need isn't a need of like making money, it's a need of like, this is my form of self-expression, and I need to make this so I feel like I'm like kind of expressing myself through my own creative outlet. So that need, I think, is what like motivates me to also want to work hard on my own craft, do my own thing, because they're out here, they don't have all the connections, all the money right now, they're doing it through their own like way. So that's definitely a reason why I would like rather support someone who's like underground and stuff like that.
As we just witnessed, music listeners feel more deeply connected to artists who have fewer fans. Audiences find comfort in an artist with a smaller following because it makes their support feel more meaningful.
Noah and I examined an experiment conducted by specialists in interpersonal communication, Ruben and McHugh, and found that parasocial interaction results from both exposure and attraction.
While this experiment focused on parasocial developments seen within television, its findings are remarkably relevant to the parasocial developments made within music, too. Rubin and McHugh state that parasocial relationships are similar to interpersonal relationships because they are both structured, in part, from the uncertainty reduction theory and uses and gratifications theory.
Uncertainty reduction theory states that within interpersonal relationships, individuals are agents who use active, interactive, or passive strategies to reduce uncertainty over time, allowing for increased attraction.
The theory of uses and gratifications is founded on these three principles. A. People are goal-oriented in their behavior. B. They are active media users. And C. They are aware of their needs and select media to gratify these needs.
Music relates to the uncertainty reduction theory because people conversationally connect with each other through revealing music tastes, reducing the uncertainty that they feel towards strangers.
And music relates to the theory of uses and gratifications because listeners acquire their own personal preferences in music, actively seek out their acquired taste, and utilize media genres to develop and satisfy their musical desires.
Besides the obvious outlets of media used for music, Spotify, Apple Music, Pandora, recently social media has been shown to wield the power of promoting music as well.
Experimenters Johnson and Ranzini took a close look at the way social media allows individuals to present themselves. They concluded that self-presentation in social media displays one's taste in entertainment, cultivating a self-image, earning them social rewards such as interpersonal connections through shared affinities.
They also found that social media users appear to be selective and strategic in how they self-present their mass media consumption, suggesting that the media consumed might indeed play a role in individual identities as well as how they wish others to perceive them. Music and film were classified as especially relevant media for online sharing because, as reliable markers of cultural capital, they are frequently used to manage or form impressions of others.
So, what this means is that social media is used for presenting yourself, resulting in people sharing music they made or enjoy, spreading their music to their followers. This both connects with people parasocially, as we've mentioned, while also constructing a version of that person that lives entirely online.
Now, let's see what some of the lovely Florida State students had to say about social media and its relationship with the modern age of music.
And then my roommate was talking about how much easier it is to put out an album than it used to be because now they can just get on Spotify, get on Apple Music like normal people can, and before you had to like sign with a record record label.
I remember when I had like a Tumblr and stuff, I would always see people of like this artist's name, like I don't even know, like Katy Perry fan page, and then you'll click on the post and people are so in love with this artist and they care for them as if they know them. They'll be like, did you hear that they just broke up, or did you hear this? And it's really interesting to see how like that bonds people together.
You kind of get updates on the artist, like if you're not, as connected with them, you kind of see like footage that you maybe would not have seen that person is out there looking for because they're a stan page. Like that's their job, to find that unfiltered footage, to find those quotes and song lyrics and put connections together. Like, oh, he made a song about this person. I bet you didn't know that. And it's like, you did not know that. So it's like, I think that's cool because you learn more about that artist from somebody whose like goal is to know everything about them. So I I guess it's kind of easier. It facilitates like finding more information or like staying up to date on things, new pictures, new songs, like releases, what's going on in their lives. So you don't feel like somebody else is stalking for you.
I think TikTok definitely gives artists like a way to connect with their younger like audiences. And I think the use of social media definitely helps people connect as well. Like especially if a certain artist you like does like polls or like goes on like live stream and stuff. So I think that's helpful too.
Literally, I listen to straight TikTok music.
Yeah.
That sounds so bad, but like I wish I was like into the like indie underground scene. I was gonna say like so many like I guess like underground artists. Now that you say that, have literally came up like off of TikTok. Like that's how people found their music.
Yeah.
Well, I think especially TikTok is like a big reason people are getting big nowadays, because TikTok doesn't go based on how many followers you have, it goes based on the what you're putting out there, you know what I mean? So you can have 0 followers and you can get more likes than somebody who is famous, you know what I mean? Just it's all about the stuff you put out there, so I feel like TikTok's a great place for people to really like get big.
You may have noticed one particular social media company that everyone has recently started turning to for music: TikTok. The previously mentioned experiment conducted by Johnson and Ranzini stated that when given media choices that vary widely on popularity, individuals gravitate towards choices that are either highly popular or highly unique.
This explains the popularity of TikTok, whose entire algorithm customizes a specifically catered, never-ending stream of content literally for you. This also justifies why people form connections with underground artists, since they feel more personal. Discovering new music has blended into our phones, whereas in the past, these discoveries mainly came from radio.
After investigating parasocial relationships and the credibility transferred from radio to listener, researchers Savage and Spence found that new technologies, like social media, will improve, endanger, or work with radio to majorly influence its popularity and usefulness among people of all ages.
They also concluded that radio has been established as a reliable source for news, entertainment, and distraction all over the world. Can we think of anything else that has been turned into a source for news, entertainment, and distraction?
Social media. Hey, Sky, if we pick and choose these relationships we make with social media, controlling how we use them while they control their impact on us, that sounds an awful lot like
a parasocial relationship? In 2015, 3 analysts actually built upon Horton and Wall's original 1956 study, differentiating between parasocial interactions and parasocial relationships. These analysts determined parasocial interactions occur when the viewer senses mutual awareness, attention, and adjustment to a media performer during their viewing.
Oh, so watching a TikTok is a parasocial interaction. In order for it to be a parasocial relationship, it sounds like it has to transcend the immediate viewing exposure and more resemble a sense of liking for or involvement with the media performer?
That's exactly what the experiment concluded. So, when people listen to music, they're always experiencing a parasocial interaction. It becomes a parasocial relationship when outlets such as social media give those people the ability to elevate their interaction into admiration.
This brings us back to the big question: what psychological bonds can human beings form through music?
Well, clearly, music has the ability to just be taken at surface level. If you just listen to a song, that would count as a parasocial interaction, since you're temporarily giving your attention to a media performer.
Music only brings people together when they have a mutual connection to it from a parasocial relationship. When we listen to it, we connect with the artist, with other people, and with ourselves.
Just like how you reduce your uncertainty of me as a stranger once you saw I listened to Dominic Fike.
Yes, that's the power of psychological human connection through media. Cool. I think we got it.
Only took that one like 5 times.